I know you want to see me go home alone. I'm done waiting. I know you want to see me go home alone. I'm done waiting. And this hurts so bad I can't breathe on my own.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures.
Yo. We are back at it again. Sorry we are delayed. It's raining in Chicago like nobody's business. Had a little flooded in my area that I do my show in. That threw me a little off. But we here. It's Thursday, March 30th, 2017. And we going to get into the show tonight. The title of the show tonight is called Broke. And it's one of the problems that is holding Black America back. A large percent of us have been broke since slavery. It's kind of passed on from generation to generation. And it's sad, but this is one of the reasons we can't break away from the system that has locked us up. And a lot of us don't get that, and a lot of other people, they get it. The government definitely gets it. The government is part of the reason that you're broke. The government did sanction slavery and did sanction Jim Crow, whether they legally sanctioned it or not. They allowed it to go on, so they developed what it is. And it's interesting. I got a couple of clips and stuff I'm gonna share with you guys tonight, but it's interesting how we have allowed ourselves to be kind of asleep in this country as far as what's going on with the economics of this country, especially like now with Donald Trump in office. This man is only there to push the agenda of white rich people. Well, you could be black and rich. He don't really care as long as you're on the team of rich people. You know, they're offering this. We're gonna give you $25 billion for education, and the rest you'll be able to take out loans. And as I'm gonna say on every show, the only thing we should really be pushing and fighting for is reparations. Stop being so bird-like. Can I get that? Can I get those crumbs? They're talking about $40 billion for a wall, but they want to give you $25 billion. It doesn't begin to cover or repair anything. That's what reparations is about, repairing. And I'm going to ask questions every show now. Questions I want you to ask yourself. And the question last week was, have you ever sat down and thought about how your race of people, meaning black people, are going to survive? Where will they be in the next 150 years? If the trend continues to go the way it's going now. Now, it'll be more personal this week. How are you going to survive? Because if you don't survive, the next 150 years means nothing, but that's the next generation. There's an article on a site called Financial Samurai. And I'm just using this as an illustration to show you how far, because a lot of people don't realize how broke we are. Even if it appears we have money, a lot of times we don't. But on Financial Samurai, they did an analysis of a married couple, both 35 years of age, both making $250,000 apiece. So these two people together are making $500,000. At the end of the year, all they got is $700. No, not even $700. They got $7,300. How do you make $500,000 and end up with $7,000 savings for the year? A lot of times we're broke because we emulate this same type of behavior that these people have. Obviously, they're traveling, and people can cover it whatever they want. Well, I'm just living life. So we're traveling, we're buying lavish homes, lavish cars. Our children are in these schools. We're paying this high price tuition. We're living life. And that's great. If you got it, go ahead and live it. A lot of people don't think beyond that 25 to 45 range of life. Let me share a story. I hope this will play. About a woman. She did a story called Faking Normal. She used to work for the World Bank, black woman. So she's making a pretty good salary and everything. And all that comes to an end. Or she leaves. She chooses to leave. And you say, why would a person making clearly six figures leave a job in corporate America? Get you a job in corporate America, and then you'll clearly understand why most people, blacks in corporate America, would love to leave. And then a lot of people stay because it took them so long to get to that position. Like I say, 1 to 3 years for whites, 7 to 10 for blacks. Yeah, of course there's going to be exceptions, but talk to your friends and ask them how long before they got their promotion. How much extra crap that they had to put up with for promotions. How many white people did they see come in and get promoted almost immediately, get brought under the wing and excel way before them. Just ask them. This ain't True Hollywood Stories, Dave Chappelle or nothing. Just go ahead and ask them. Let me share this this clip of the woman from the World Bank. I'm hoping the sound comes through because I was tweaking stuff before, and you know, when you're running late, stuff doesn't go the way you want it to. But let's see if we can set it up for you anyway.
And that's why you call the book Faking Normal.
Right. Because there's a lot of pressure to seem like you are doing well.
Elizabeth White is not doing terribly well. As she painfully chronicles in the book she's just self-published, 55, unemployed, and faking normal. White's been on the edge of the financial cliff for years, even though you'd never know it from how she looks, or the Washington, D.C. townhouse she bought years ago, one she couldn't even dream of renting today.
But you haven't been in a situation where you literally couldn't afford whatever it is, the condo.
I'm right now have to park outside because I'm in arrears on the condo fee. Right now.
And she's refinanced to the hilt, taking in a boarder.
Well, you haven't used food stamps.
But I have. I've had to.
It's been quite a comeuppance for someone with her background.
I have a bachelor's from Oberlin. I have a master's in international studies from Johns Hopkins. I have a Harvard MBA. I worked at the World Bank, came in through a program where they recruited 5,000 people. They took 2 Americans out of that 25. I was one of the Americans.
But ultimately, White decided to leave the bank to start her own business.
I had a chain of stores, of decorative home stores.
Really?
Yes. I sold some of the things you see here, African-inspired products. I realized that there was an African-American market that wanted things in their home that reflected heritage and culture. If you wanted to give your little girl Black Ragnando, you couldn't easily find it. So I just curated that from all over. So I then bet the ranch that I could get this going. So I took a lot of my, not all of it, but I took a big chunk of my World Bank money to sort of fund this.
Retirement savings.
Savings. But it wasn't going, it was doing well, but I couldn't see my vendors of artists and producers were not gonna be able to blow this out chain. We're already.
Okay. It did play. It was a little choppy. Sorry about that. As I was saying, when you're doing what you're doing and we're rushing to get things together, you know, you're going to have a few technical difficulties. Should pick up next week. I got a mixer board coming next week, and that should allow me to do some different things. I may change the program altogether or interface a little differently, background settings, everything. It'll be much nicer because I'm always working to do more. But as the young lady said, I don't call her a woman of a certain age. This woman had 3 different degrees: master's degree, PhD, MBA, bachelor, worked for the World Bank of the world. Now, she didn't say they kicked her out of corporate America. She left. She just, I guess she got to a point of, and you will get to a point in corporate America where you'll be like, this some bull. This some bull. But one of the ways we go broke is we put our kids into these overpriced schools, white schools, mind you, to get the education that you think is going to really springboard them in corporate America. So you inherit all this additional debt when you could very well send them to a black school, let them stay who they are, have some type of cultural experience. I don't buy into this, black schools are this and this and this. That's your culture. You're going to get treated the same no matter what you do over in corporate America. No, but because I can say Stanford or Yale or Brown, I'm going to be treated differently. Okay, maybe you will. Maybe you will. The numbers don't add up. Like I say, I'm in meetings all the time. I'm looking, I'm counting, and if these white schools are turning out such great products, they must all be hidden under the Republican stone of truth. I just don't see a lot of them. We're not represented in culture, but I don't want to get off the subject. This woman left corporate America, opened a chain of stores. Here's probably where the problem was at. And this is what a lot of us do. She wanted to appeal to black culture. So she was selling artifacts, different types of things that related to our heritage, or what we feel is our heritage, because we really don't know our heritage, because we over here living like these white folks live, because those were our examples. They're the ones that taught us how to behave in America. So she's selling artifacts and things like this. And hey, everybody loves some artifacts. I got some artifacts around here. A lot of black folks don't have money. This may sound crazy, but 40% of black people are living on or below the poverty line. And that's at about $26,000, $27,000 a year income. 40%. Now, our unemployment rate is about, for black men, it's probably at about 20%, I would dare say. Maybe for women, it's a little lower. It's at 10%, and dropping, because black women, we know, are getting more degrees than even their white counterparts, men and women. Black men are at the bottom of the totem poles with getting degrees. Another reason you're broke. You don't have a degree, so you can't come and work in this area over here, because we're going to require you to get in debt to come work for us, because it's part of the enslavement. Reparations means repair what was done to us, hit us with that free education, that free loot, that free non-debt loan money. We don't want loans. We want the cash to rebuild, because this is the only way we will ever get out of this situation. You're broke because the government has made you broke. It's no secret. But everybody said, well, you got to get out. Yeah, you got to get out, and you got to do this and do this and do this. We realize that. Oh, let's expand on how the government made you broke. After supporting all the Jim Crow laws and instituting separate and unequal, not separate and equal, because when they tried to separate and equal, notice how great their schools were and how we got leftover books and things that they didn't need anymore. That's not equal. You got better neighborhoods, and you had the resources to keep up those neighborhoods because you are the job holders. You were the ones giving out the job. So here's another reason you may become broke, because you've now spent all this money and went to this college that supposedly is going to give me this better education. And now, who do you interview with? I'll be 52 in a couple of weeks. I've interviewed with one black person in my life. And I've been on tons of interviews. Oh, did I get the job with the black person? Yeah, I got the job with the black person works. That's kind of strange, because that's how the white people get their jobs. And they don't need 3 degrees, because you can go to school once we put you in this position. Now you can go and do whatever, and we dare anybody to question us. So another reason you're broke is because you still got to go and ask these people for a job, and then they got the determination on whether you worthy. But in the meantime, you got your government. Yeah, you got that student loan money. Yeah, you been. Oh no, that wasn't free. You had 6 months after graduation to start paying us for the rest of your life. Oh, you want to defer? Okay, defer. We will add 2 years. You want to defer for 2 years? Let's add some interest on to that. Okay, now you're well, back when I was younger, your loan was 14,000. It's now 28,000. Oh, because it was in default, and we bought them out of default. Like, what's this loan doing default? Oh, no. All those lawyers and doctors that got away with not paying their student loans back in the early 70s, that's not going to happen anymore. We're the government. We're going to take care of all this. You will pay one way or another. And that's the bottom line. So now when your kids are going to school, here's another way you go broke. Now your kids need to go to school, and for 4-year education, you're looking at $80,000 to $200,000 for your kids to go for 4 years. That's not the price at black schools. You can get 4 years for probably $60,000 or less. A lot of these colleges are the same prices we pay for some of our kids to go to high school. $12,000 a year, $15,000 a year, $20,000 a year. The education depends on the person. That's just my thinking. If you got that get up and go, it doesn't make a difference where you go. You still gonna be outstanding. I went to the ride, and I went with a bunch of people, and I don't know any of them, maybe one or two others that are in the computer field like I'm in the computer field. That's amazing. There are not a whole lot of black people in the computer field, even though you see them going to school. But here's the thing. Those people are in charge. There are no black engineers at my firm. None. Zero. And the two that they did hire, they had to go. So you're broke because the systematic racism that exists still controls you, still doesn't allow you to get promotions with the cost of living going up, still keeps you locked in because your kids got to go to school. They got to go to college. We got to imprison their minds just like we did you. So it's this continuous cycle of keep spending money with those that don't care about you. And we can spend that all the way back around to our neighborhoods, like I'm always talking about. Who owns the stores in your neighborhood? The Asians, the Arabs. How they get the money for these stores? Minority loans. Wait a minute, ain't we minorities? That's right, your government. The same one that was subsidizing farmers and such back in the 50s and 60s, giving away land grants, giving away money for machinery, establishing people with land and everything. Those same ones, those same great government that the Republicans like to tell you about, are the same ones that's taking the money that you should be able to get, but you go try to get a minority loan. You don't qualify. But these people qualify. Every Wednesday when I go get a haircut, there's a train that pulls them to the station. Not one single black gets off it. It's all Asian and I want to call them Indian, Arab foreigners get off this train. And I look at these people and I say, these are the new bosses. These are the new minorities. And we can hire these, corporate America, we can hire these under the minority status, and they ain't gonna give us all that crap like you Negroes. So we pushing y'all a little bit further out. There's a clip, and Bill O'Reilly, somebody needs to take a foot and stump him to death. But this asshole, you know, the thing he said about Maxine Warder the other day, with she was giving a speech and he's talking about her wig looked like it should have been buried with James Brown. That's just ignorant, but it's Fox News, right? So there was an older clip of him talking to Colin Powell, and let me just share it with you.
You're an analytical man. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, well, I try to be.
All right. President Obama's economic plan hasn't worked among African Americans. When you voted for him, 12.7 unemployment. December 2012, a month after you voted for him again, 14% unemployment. Up. Okay, hadn't worked. Income. Black income, $32,000 compared to white, $55,000. It's gone down under President Obama. Hasn't worked. So you basically said to yourself, I'm still going to support the guy, even though his economic policies haven't worked for African Americans and pretty much anyone else.
Why are you only seeing me as an African American, Bill? That
because you did cite it. You
I'm
did
an
cite
American.
it, though. No, I know that. But you cited it in some of your criticisms. You said, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the disengagement of the Republican Party from the minority community, blacks and Hispanics, troubled you.
It troubled me that he was like, I'm an American. That's our first problem. We want to keep accepting, I'm an American. You're just a slave that happened to be brought to America. And we might as well address ourselves as that, because, as this man said, and he wanted to point out, you had a black president and he could do nothing for you. You had him for 8 years and he could do nothing for you. And you want to blame it on his policy. It's not his policy. It's America's policy. When they stabbed Hillary in the back and put Obama in the front, these are your string masters. I told everybody this has been the worst 8 years of my life. But from a racial standpoint, the finances, it is what it is. But from a racial standpoint and all the underlying racism that has surfaced in America now, I've never seen so much forward racism in my life. On the job, blatant racism. I told the story of when the market crashed and they came and said, we're going to have to lay off somebody. Me and my friend were the only two blacks left in the department. It used to be an all-black department, but we're the only two. But we got seniority. Oh, well, she says they're not going to talking about us. This guy just came. He's hasn't even been a whole year yet. I looked at her like, no, they're talking about one of us. What? You have to not be shocked at what these people do. They terminated her. Sure, they're going to find some convenient excuse. But this dude here was still in class, still going to school, hadn't worked on a single assignment. We both have been sitting here 12 and 13 years respectively. This dude now has been promoted even over me. Because they can do what they want to do. It's their company. You can complain, but, well, Negro, I don't know what to tell you. You don't like what's happening here, you can go on down to Master Moore's plantation, because we can tell you it's going to be the same for you there, nigger. So why haven't we changed our mindsets? Why don't we save money? And this is my thing, and I'm just guilty of everybody else. I got what is this? A 4-bedroom home with 3 washrooms and 2 cars and a mortgage and all these trappings that keep you locked in and keep you from saving to do something different, to do something better. And everybody looks at me when I tell them, look, I'm getting out of here. Matter of time, you look at your finances, you start saving. I have a company. My company's called RPC Computing. Been doing it for 10 years. Problem is I haven't taken the money and made the jump. And that's what we all have to do. We have to make the jump. If you're robbing a bank and you grabbed a certain amount of money, you can't wait for the rest of the money. You got to go and jump. This has to be my jump year. I've determined that this is going to be my jump year. And I got to just jump with the money I got so I can do something different. Like this woman said, she started her business. She had a chain of stores. It didn't work out, but you can't let other people's failures keep you from where you're going to be or what you're praying for or where God's trying to put you. You got to just jump out there on faith and let the chips fall where they may. And a lot of people may not understand. I tell young people all the time, your dream is your dream. And the only one that's got to believe in your dream is you. But you got to start saving. From your first job, you got to start saving money. We spend too much money on gym shoes and bull crap. We don't invest in things. I just happen to have people around me. I was able to buy a house. I was able to buy rental property. I was able to start my business. So there's a whole bunch of things that I was able to do. And I can tell you this much, it feels different when you make your own money than their money. Now they got everything. They got the insurance and everything. You can buy insurance yourself. But if you're young and you're starting out and you're going to school, really think about the school you're going to. Really make sure it's what you want to do. Because you're probably going to be paying a student loan a good 15, 20, 25 years. Which is going to take a lot of your income away. Unless we get some magical reparations bill that says you get free school. Otherwise, you're going to be right back into the system. And you having a job doesn't fly with your student loans. They will get their money. We got to make some type of progress here, people. And I'm talking about us being broke collectively. We can go back 150 years. Black people own 1% of everything in this country. 160 something years later, black folks own 1% of everything in this country. We can't drink the Kool-Aid no more. The definition of insanity is keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. Expect to be different. Love, peace, soul. We out of here.
Negroes suffer collectively from the collective attitude of white people in this country. You can't approach it on an individual basis. And this is where whites make their mistakes today. You should ask the Negroes who are being bitten by dogs after professing love for white people. If you notice, they accuse Mr. Muhammad of teaching hate. Well, Martin Luther King teaches Negroes to love all white people, no matter what they do to you, and the same whites whom he teaches Negroes to love sick dogs on him, sick dogs on their children, dogs on their women, and dogs on their babies. So I think it's very hypocritical on the part of whites to accuse Mr. Muhammad of a hate teacher because he says separation and then sick dogs on Martin Luther King, who is teaching integration. It means that no matter what the Negro does, he is not going to get along with whites.